Hi, today is April 2nd, 2025, and here are my poems for the day. The first one is poem number 508 for the year, The Hand Felt. The hand reached out or down toward nothing, and reached and reached and reached toward nothing, and usually the hand felt nothing, but there were times when it felt as though the nothing was reaching back, and sometimes when the nothing seemed to be reaching back, it felt like something, but usually, even then, as usual, the hand felt nothing. Of course, the hand was not unfeeling, and the hand would have loved to be feeling something when it reached out, and in fact, that is why it reached out. And then the hand realized that it actually did feel many things: disappointment, hope, loneliness, communion, desire, desperation, fear, contentment, acceptance, and more. So actually, even though usually when the hand reached out it felt nothing, it always felt something. Poem number 509, The Felt Hand. The hand was made of felt. It wasn't a glove, it was a felt hand. Like you couldn't stick your hand in it because it wasn't a glove. It was a hand. Maybe it wasn't a hand in the sense that your hand or my hand is a hand, but nevertheless, despite its makeup, it was a hand, a felt hand. If you were to hold the felt hand in your hand, the felt hand would feel felt in more ways than one. Once in the sense that it always feels the felt that it is made of, but also in the sense that it would feel felt by you. And of course, you would feel twice felt too. Once in the sense that you would feel as though the felt hand was feeling you, but also in the sense that you would be feeling the felt of the felt hand. There's a lot more that could be said about the felt hand, like how it gets covered with cat hair when the cat sits on it, but maybe that's enough about the felt hand for now. Poem number 510, Cory Booker, or The First Drop. History has been made, and the record for the longest recorded Senate speech is no longer held by that piece of shit, Strom Thurmond. Cory Booker spent more than 25 hours on the Senate floor railing against the Trump administration, finishing shortly after 8 p.m. last night. To those that say that this is but a drop in the bucket, I say I've been thirsting for months for a Democrat, any Democrat, to do something, anything. And now someone has done something, and that's how you begin to fill a bucket, with the first drop. Poem number 511, Delamination. There's tattoo removal. Why isn't there a place you can go if you decide that you no longer want something you got laminated to be laminated? I'm not saying I want something delaminated. I had something laminated last week, and I'm glad I did. And I don't want to delaminate. Shit, I made a mistake. Should I start over? Poem number 511, Delamination. There's tattoo removal. Why isn't there a place you can go if you decide that you no longer want something you got laminated to be laminated? I'm not saying I want something delaminated. I had something laminated last week, and I'm glad I did, and I don't want to delaminate it at this time. But it might be nice to know that I could if I wanted to. I dare say I would laminate a lot more things if I knew the process was reversible. But lamination, like so many other processes, is irreversible. And I think it's a goddamn shame. Actually, I had it right the first time. And the last poem of the day, poem number 512, What Was Said. Paul, not his real name, believed that Peter, not his real name, had said something to the group that he shouldn't have said. Peter also said many things to the group that were well worth saying. For example, Peter spoke about how whenever one is wondering whether to speak, to ask one's self, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said now? And does it need to be said by me? Paul asked himself these three questions with regard to the thing that Peter had said that Peter shouldn't have said. That is, Peter asked himself whether anything needed to be said about what Peter had said. Paul asked himself whether anything needed to be said about what Peter had said, and whether it needed to be said now, and whether it needed to be said by Paul. Paul decided the answers were yes, yes, and yes. So Paul said something about what Peter had said. Later, Paul wondered whether he ought to apologize, but instead he went up to Peter and thanked him for speaking, and then Peter thanked Paul for what he said, which made Paul wonder whether Peter had even understood what Paul had said. But Paul didn't think any further explanation was necessary. All right, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate you.